My selfies, welcome back to the Chief of Self podcast. My name is Mads. I am your host. I will handhold you through today's episode because we are talking about one of my favorite topics, books, reading. This is going to be the 5 books that can get you out of a reading rut. I have probably been in a reading rut for years now because as I was crafting this list, I realized that all these books are books I read years ago. So I am currently in a reading rut. So maybe I should just reread some of these books. But I know what it means to receive a book recommendation that fits you like a glove, that is the tailored to you recommendation, the type of book where you want to go home when you're at dinner because you want to read. The type of book where you just are so excited to snuggle up in bed and crack open the book and have hours in front of you that you could just get lost in, okay? That is one of life's greatest feelings, and I seek it out quite a bit. It is something I am in the pursuit of at all times. I'm a huge reader, and I'm primarily a romance novel reader, and I think I said this in a previous episode. The only 2 books I read are romance novels and self-help / businessy books. Okay. I don't really have anything in between. I don't really read literature or just regular fiction. I read specifically romance novels. Anytime I veer into the just regular fiction stuff, I just am always disappointed. I don't know. Yes, I can appreciate good prose and good storytelling, but honestly, if there isn't a romance in there, if there isn't a love story, I don't want it. So this episode is for you if you also love romance novels, but you don't know where to start, or you just, you used to be a big reader and you fell off, or you just keep reading duds over duds over duds and you've lost your luster for reading. You're going to bookmark this episode, okay? So let's just dive in. I'm going to give you 5, and then I'm going to give you some honorable mentions, just quick hits. I'm going to rattle them off just so that you can, whatever piques your interest, feel free to, go and dive in. And this is coming also at the perfect moment because it's December. We're going into the holidays. It's cozy season. Things are winding down. People are slowing down. You are probably going on trips. You're going to be in transit. You're going to be on planes, trains, automobiles. And this is the perfect time to get back into reading and get out of your reading rut. I am going to make sure you have a book hangover. Book hangovers, again, also one of the most underrated feelings. Being able to just you're when your heart is sinking in because of how good a book was. Oh God, I just there's no better feeling. Number 1, the book that I come back to in my mind all the time, Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. Now, yes, it would probably be better to be reading this in the summer. I get it. But it doesn't matter because this book is so unbelievable. First, it's very summer nostalgia. It is, again, all of this, I should have said that at the beginning. No spoilers for any of this. I'm going to just talk very generally about the plot. I will not spoil anything of any of these books. So it's a lot of summer nostalgia, second chance romance. The 2 characters grow up together. There's a lake. Oh, you guys know I love a lake. Carly Fortune is the queen of lakes. It's jumps, what is it called? Jumping time jumps, where it's goes back and forth to their childhood and then to where they are now. You don't know why they fell out of touch, but they did, and they come back together, and a lot of secrets are unveiled. It is one of the most gut-wrenching love stories, but also this, again, summer nostalgia. There's a lake. Oh my God. When I recommend books Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, just take it and enjoy. I'm so jealous you get to read this again you get to read this for the first time. What I would give to read this for the first time again. But her storytelling feels like a movie. I believe this is becoming a movie, which, I mean, a lot of these books are either becoming movies or have become movies. But again, you always know the book is better. So Every Summer After, Carly Fortune. I am so jealous of you. Okay, the next book. This book I shoved in so many people's faces. I honestly should be getting a commission on how many people I got to buy this book. The Idea of You by Robin Lee. It is very controversial. I don't understand. If you read this book and didn't like it, we probably wouldn't be friends. Like, I don't understand how you could dislike this book. It is the perfect book, in my opinion. It essentially covers a Harry Styles-esque character and an older woman, she's 40, but he's like 21-ish, and she brings her daughter to the concert. They get to do a meet and greet, and the like Harry Styles of the One Direction-esque band falls in love with the 40-year-old mother, and she is so sophisticated, so chic. She owns like a gallery in Los Angeles, and anyways, it's just about them traveling the world, having this love affair while he's on tour, and the complications of it. Obviously, she has a daughter. She's more private, and she doesn't want to like live this public life. It did turn into a movie with Amazon. I loved the movie. It's with Anne Hathaway. I think they did a fantastic job. I will say the book is better. Like, just the books are better in general, but so I hope you haven't watched the movie, because that would rob you of the chance to read this book for the first time without knowing anything that happens. They did change the ending in the movie, I will say. The ending is so controversial. Like, it will make you throw the book across the room. And I was listening to a podcast episode with Robin Lee, and, because this is a romance novel, but she does not consider it a romance novel. She went to a writer's boot camp, and as they were writing it, they were like, okay, well, the romance novel formula is like, you do this, and then you set up here, and then you have sex like twice in the book or whatever. It's like kind of like this like like formula A+. And she was like, well, this isn't a romance novel, so I'm throwing the formula out the window. And she just decided to go rogue and kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just every romance novel typically has a happy ending, and this is the first one where there really wasn't that type of resolution, and it's so gut-wrenching. You want to throw the book across the thing. I won't tell anymore, but just do yourself a service and read The Idea of You by Robin Lee. Number 3, 831 Stories. I've talked about them before. They are this new type of publishing house where they create bingeable short romance stories, or like romance novellas. My favorite ones are Big Fan, which is about like this political strategist that works with a celebrity. I am also, just so you know, obsessed with celebrity tropes. I love when there is a celebrity in a book. So those are probably going to be a lot of these on this list. And then my other favorite was Exit Lane, which I just read and I told you guys about. It's like When Harry Met Sally vibes, very good for fall and the holiday season. And I just think these are so good if you're in a slump and you don't know where to just get yourself out, something quick, something bingeable. It like 200-ish pages, like really, really, you could do it in one sitting. And they're such a gateway to romance. So if romance is a new genre for you, I would start with 831 Stories. Like, they just do it so well. And they have all these universes and, just different types of stories. And a lot of them, they all have the romance tropes, second chance lovers, enemies to lovers, all the things. So that is number 3. Number 4, The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Okay. I am not a fantasy girl. Okay. I tried ACOTAR. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I just don't understand fairies and world building and other worlds. Maybe I just don't have that big of an imagination. It's just not for me. So I was a little worried because this book and all of Ashley Poston's book have magical realism. So, time traveling or seeing ghosts, things like that. The Dead Romantics is one of her most popular books. I personally didn't love it. The 7-Year Slip was, could not put it down. I was on vacation with Ben. I remember must have been two Christmases ago. And we were at Alisal Ranch in Santa Ynez. I remember so specifically. I was in the pool and I couldn't tear myself away. I literally couldn't stop reading it. It was so fantastic. I don't really want to give too much away, but it's obviously there's some magical realism, there's like a ghost-ish component, but it's not weird. Like, I don't know how else to describe it other than she does it so mindfully and not in a cringy way. Okay, number 5. So this is so funny that I say I hate fantasy and I don't really love magical realism because 2 of the books on this list are magical realism. So number 5, very fitting, is In 5 Years, Rebecca Searle. Oh God, Rebecca Searle. Now, this is also a book you can read in one sitting. Her writing is so immaculate and just, listen, a lot of romance novels, and I read plenty, a lot of them are kind of cheesy, okay? A lot of the writing is a little corny. I think that's why it gets a bad rap sometimes because it feels like a lesser than genre. And I will say like a lot, not a lot, but like many books that are in the genre are a little cheesy and a little corny, okay? And there is a time and place for that, and some of them I do really, really love. But when a romance novel has writing that is so developed, so you get lost in it, you're not taken out because you're cringing, like you're really, really connecting to it, those are the authors like I come back to time and time again. Like I will read anything Rebecca Searle. I did not like her latest book, the expiration dates one. I will read anything. Honestly, I'll read anything by any of these authors. Carly Fortune, I'm number 1. And look, I did not like her second book, Meet Me by the Lake. I thought it was a little too premature. She had gotten so much success from Every Summer After and then just wrote this other book. And I think she was just trying to put something out. That's my opinion. I did not enjoy it, but everything else from her is amazing. Robin Lee has not written another book. If she does, I will be the first to buy it. Anything 831 Stories does, I will read. Ashley Poston, I read every single one of her books. But again, 7 Year Slip, I think was like my favorite. And then Rebecca Searle, everything. In 5 Years, also magical realism. She basically like wakes up 5 years later in a whole different life and then goes back to her current life and is like, wait, what, how the fuck did I just had this like weird daydream, but it felt real. Like, how did my life become that? Because I'm like with a different man now. So it's basically the whole story of how she gets back to that in 5 years moment. Very gut-wrenching, very sad. You probably will cry, but it's like you need answers, right? Like from the beginning, you're just like, how the fuck is this gonna turn out? Because I don't know how she's gonna wrap it up. Okay, let's do honorable mentions. So these are books I just like, I couldn't narrow it down to 5, but any of those 5 that I just mentioned, you are in good hands. You will get out of your reading rut immediately. But these are some honorable mentions if none of those really like tickled your fancy. Meant to Be by Emily Giffin. So this one is like a Kennedy-esque family and a love story between, you know, a girl that like comes from a different class and she's she's with this like Kennedy man. And it's, again, I love reading about rich people. I love reading about rich families. So that one took me by surprise and also immediately yanked me out of a reading rut. Oh, Reel, Reel by Kennedy Ryan. Listen, Kennedy Ryan. No one does it better than Kennedy Ryan. She's honestly like my quintessential romance author. I read the Long Shot series. She's so spicy. So spicy, okay? I want to emphasize so spicy, but in the best way possible. Again, the writing, the character development, you know, some of her books in the Long Shot series I didn't love because she covers pretty heavy topics. Like there's one that's a lot about abuse, which I didn't enjoy. But this one, Reel, is about a Hollywood love story. A very famous like producer, director finds this, you know, woman. He like picks her, I think he sees her in like a little show off Broadway or something, and then stars her in his big Hollywood movie. And again, so it's glitz, it's glamour, it's love story, it's steamy. Oh my God, I did not want this to end. I remember I was reading it in Greece while we were there with me and Ben went last year. I just, again, could not tear myself away. Ben was like, we need to go to dinner. And I said, no, like I can't go to dinner. I need to read this book. It is fantastic. Okay, the Friend Zone series by Abby Jimenez. This is also another gateway series I tell people to read if they are looking to get into romance. So you don't need to read them in order. Every Abby Jimenez book does take characters from one another. So if you want to read them in order, you can. But my favorite one is the Happy Ever After playlist. Again, musician, celebrity trope. That's just like my bread and butter. So that one, I remember my heart fluttering and like kicking my feet like a little schoolgirl in that one. So if you wanted to just dive into one, I would do that. Okay, Rebecca Yarros. Now, I'm not talking about Rebecca Yarros in the fantasy world. It is the same author, of course, but she obviously wrote Fourth Wing and that whole thing. I am, again, not participating in that world. Her romance novels are unmatched. Again, she is an author that anything she puts out, I will read. I actually just got another book of hers. But my favorite ones are The Things We Leave Unfinished and Variation. Variation was about this ballet dancer. About a ballet dancer. She falls in love with this guy that she grew up with. And then Things We Leave Unfinished, huge twist. There's like wartime call outs. It's, oh my God. Like, I remember the twist being like, what? Like in my bed, freaking out. Okay, Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. Alyssa Sussman also can do no wrong in my eyes. She has a podcast called But How's the Sex? Where she literally talks to people and they discuss the sex lives of fictional characters, whether that's in movies or books or TV shows. And I was actually on it the other day and we did a whole breakdown of the sex lives of the characters from Love Actually. So that'll come out during like Christmas time, which was really fun. But anyways, she is an incredible romance author. I think Funny You Should Ask was her first book. And she told me that I single-handedly made that book popular. I don't believe her at all. She even thanked me in the author's note at the end, the acknowledgments. She thanked me in her second book, being like, thank you to Maddie Mayo and like all the other book talkers who made Funny You Should Ask like what it was. And her and I follow her on Instagram, and so we're just kind of buds at this point. And that book, The Funny You Should Ask, is unbelievable. It's about a PR girl who meets up with another celebrity. Again, a celebrity trope, and dual timelines, just so fun. Oh God, really. And set in LA, so it's like Hollywood-y and really, really good. Now we're going to talk about Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I love TJR. I personally did not read Atmosphere. I did buy it, but then I heard mixed reviews and people were just like, you could skip it. But I also heard some people loved it, so I don't know. Ever since Evelyn Hugo, she obviously has gone more towards the fiction side of things rather than the love story, which is fine. I just like, again, personally, and I've read Evelyn Hugo, I've read Daisy Jones, I've read Malibu Rise, I've read all of it. Something about her earlier work where she did strictly like, again, like heart-piercing love stories. And the one I want you guys to read is One True Loves. Oh my God, like be prepared to cry. But it's basically one woman, she, I don't think this is giving anything away, but like her husband, her true love dies, and then she finds another true love, but then the one that dies actually didn't die. He wants to come back and he's like, how could you like be moving on from me? Whatever. It is unbelievable. TJR is one of those where her writing is just unparalleled. So anything she writes is incredible, but I wish she would go back to her older, like romance novel type of books. And there was one summer where I read all of them, basically all of her like earlier stuff. And she's incredible. But yeah, One True Loves is a standout for sure. And then Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McKiston. This was the first gay romance novel I read. And oh my God, the premise is chef's kiss. It's if the Prince of England and the son of the President of the United States started having an affair. Oh my God. all I'm going to say to you is do not watch the movie. I'm sorry. It was just so, I don't know. They just didn't do it justice at all. It didn't feel like the book. The book is just perfect in my eyes. I highly recommend it. Really one of my go-tos. And then Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. This was actually the first romance novel I ever read. And it's, again, one of those like missed connection romances. They dated in college and then reconnect later. And there's nostalgia, there's heartbreak. And I'm actually about to read another Renee Carlino book called This Used to Be Us. I saw it on Book Talk. This girl was like, oh my God, I'm so jealous that you get to, whenever someone says, I'm jealous you get to read this for the first time, that's when I know that it's a qualifier that I need to purchase it right away. So, oh my God, that was everything. Those were the 5 books to get you out of a reading rut, as well as like 20 other honorable mentions. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think of them. I want to hear about your favorite romance novels that have gotten you out of reading ruts, that give you book hangovers. Like, those are the types of books I am seeking. And if you listen to this and have read a lot of these books and you understand my taste, I'm always looking for more book recommendations. Again, as I said, I've obviously been in a reading rut for the past couple of years because these books I read years ago. So nothing has captured me the way these have. So I am so excited for you to go on this journey. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next week.